Well, hello, everybody. Jamie here. How's everybody doing? When you jump on, say hey. Would love to know who we have here. This is a special time, so we are live at an off time. So we'll see who joins us. But I wanted to do kind of a special event. So before we get into that, we are live right now on our Facebook page, also in our Facebook group, Financial Literacy for Women Business Owners. If you're not in our Facebook group, I don't know why not. You need to come on and join us. And we are also live right now on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. So wherever you're joining us, say hi. I see Stacy. Tell me you guys are here. So this is going to be a little bit different. Oftentimes we're talking about, finance, accounting, taxes, all things for business owners, or we're talking about COVID relief, which we will be talking about both of those things this week. Don't worry, everybody. But today is going to be a little bit different. This is a special event where I'm bringing on Ashley Mcgee. So Ashley is a former student / still current student. I feel like my students are my students forever.
Ongoing.
It's ongoing because you guys get to kind of come back and take it with everybody else as well, which is great. But Ashley was part of my financial fitness formula program last year. So for those of you guys, just to level set, if anybody doesn't know, right now, open for enrollment, my financial fitness formula program has the doors open. So we opened it last week and we're closing in 2 days. We got 2 days left. So I don't want anybody telling me they didn't know it was closing because I'm going to tell you guys about 1,000 times between now and Thursday that it's closing. I promise. But I wanted to bring on a couple of my star students from last year. So we rolled out financial fitness formula for the first time last year. So Ashley was one of my students that came into the program. And this program is really all about taking control of your business finances. So it's all about the strategic side and then also the cash management side of how to really run your business as your own CFO, right? How to have that confidence. If you feel just overwhelmed, if you don't know what you're supposed to be doing with your business finances, if you don't know how you should price your products, how to set a budget, right? How to really make the most of your finances in order to be able to achieve those personal and professional dreams that you have, which we all have, right? Then Financial Fitness Formula is the program for you. I might be a little bit biased. I don't know, just a little bit biased. And behind me, if anybody is wondering, these are all the wonderful people who have already signed up to be part of Financial Fitness Formula this go around. So we are trying to hashtag fill the wall. I kind of like this right now because the screen's a little smaller. So it looks almost, it's like we're getting there at this point. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ashley. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, Ashley, just about your experience, just to give people a little bit of kind of that behind the scenes sneak peek from somebody who has been through it. So first, Let's start with an introduction. Who are you, Ashley? Tell us a little bit about you and tell us a little bit about your business.
Yeah. So, hey, everyone, I'm Ashley Mcgee. I am actually active duty naval officer. And then I have my own business as a health coach for military women. So I actually, one of the reasons that this is at a weird time is because I work my business before I start my Navy working hours.
Few things going on,
Clearly teleworking, right? Because I'm not in a uniform right now. But yeah, so I am super passionate about helping women in the military community basically achieve their healthiest lives. I believe that health is the key to abundance. And so that's really what my business is. I teach healthy habits in food, fitness, sleep, and mindset to my clients.
I love that. I love all of that. I love how it all ties into to you being active duty military. The people that you were helping intimately, right?
And I was that person.
Yeah,
right? Like
exactly.
I started out struggling with my health and then I figured it out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's do a quick flashback to last year. Before you joined Financial Fitness Formula, tell us a little bit about what you were feeling and then what motivated you to jump on in.
Yeah. So I had just started building my business. Like I think I joined FFF and then like a month later filed my LLC, right? Like, so yeah. I was right at the beginning of kind of figuring out what I was developing, but I was paying off a lot of personal debt, and I knew that like I had some janky money mindset. And So I was really focused on starting a business that had a really solid foundation to include financially. And I wanted to stop feeling guilty and like shame around finances.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And actually like, feel confident that I know what I'm doing. And my husband has a background in like finances and has an MBA. So he's like, do you want me to get it? Like, no, I want to be able to do it myself.
I love that story. I can't tell you how many people, even in my audience, tell me like, oh, my husband's a CPA, oh, my husband's an MBA, my husband's a finance person. And they're like, I don't want to learn it from him. Like, he doesn't make any sense. I want to learn it from you.
There's just something about like learning it from or being corrected by your spouse. We actually, before we went live, we went golfing yesterday, and like I got mad at him because he was like trying to correct my aim, and I'm like, it makes me feel like an idiot. I know how to play golf.
that aside on that, that's why my husband and I can't go to Top Golf again, because he tries the whole like, well, here's how you hold the club. I know how to hold the club. Thank you very much. Like, even if I don't, I know how to do this. Thank you. I love that you said janky money mindset, firstly, because I love the word janky. And secondly, because I think that is such like, knowing that about yourself, right? Like knowing like there's some weird stuff here. Like, I don't know what's causing this, but like there's some weird stuff here. And I need to kind of dive into this a little bit. It's actually why, and I'm curious to see, we've redone financial fitness formula. So even you haven't seen like what it looks like now. So I'm really excited to roll this out even to my existing members because we have redesigned it and put so much more into it. But one of those things was to make an entire module that really goes to mindset and goal setting. And I think that just was foundational, where we have to kind of start here before we dive into like all the numbers, right? And like before you're opening up a single spreadsheet, we got to start with kind of mindset and looking at that and thinking about, what has happened, what has gotten us to this place, so that we can move forward from it. Because right, like guilt and shame, those things suck. Like I tell you what. Guilt and shame, no go around here. We don't, those are like, it's useless, right? Like feeling shame, that's a useless emotion. I've felt that in many places in my life, but it's not serving us. So we're going to leave it behind. We're going to like put it out to pasture, and we're going to go move forward. So you jumped in. So what was kind of the deciding factor for you to kind of make that move and jump into FFF?
I had kind of started already following you, right? So I had heard you on Amy Porterfield's, online marketing made easy podcast, right? And everything you were saying about like what you did and what you believed in, I was like, I like her. So I joined your Facebook group and your email list, right? So like I was already kind of actively like watching you. Because that's a big thing, right? Like we have to build up that trust factor and be like, okay, do I connect with this person? Do I trust this person? Do they seem like they actually know their shit? So sorry.
Yes, no, we're good. I don't think there's any children watching this, right? Earphones, guys.
Yeah, I curse like a sailor is not an exaggeration at all. Even my own coaching, like again, military. So that was part of it, right? Like I was already actively watching you. And I knew I was also self-aware, right? Like I knew I needed some financial guidance. Yeah. So when you rolled out your program, like I think I bought the first day, honestly. To me, it was a no-brainer. I was like, okay, like I like what she's about. She's putting out good information. I trust her. And this is something that I need. And and the price point, I was like, yeah,
I'm in. Yeah.
Easy. Yeah.
Let's do this. That's awesome. Yeah. I think that is the thing. You have to have trust with someone who's like, with finances, especially. I do think a lot of people have gone through that situation where, especially women, I think like will be in a situation where you just have somebody that kind of does the like mansplaining thing. And it just doesn't, you feel like the condescendingness. Like, I think that is why I started doing what I was doing, because I felt like there was a hole in accessible financial education that made sense and wasn't like, like condescending. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I think because that's ridiculous, and that's not going to get, and that just plays into the guilt and the fear, right? And the shame. And that's I wanted to help people see the possibilities, right? Like see the hope, be excited, be encouraged, right?
Yeah.
So I love that that's what you felt.
Yeah. And actually I was on your webinar too. And I think that
Yeah.
that was actually a big thing is I was like, okay, like, cause you did bring up a lot of the hope and like, hey, like pay yourself more and like, don't be afraid of tax season. And I'm like, I want those things.
Yes, because I think so, I mean that is the thing. There are so many people that market based on fear. There are so many people that market based on like, and I think that this is something that happens like in the debt world, the shame, right? Like you're in debt, you need to do something about this. And it's like, no, can we take it to the place of hope and encouragement and positivity? That's the key. That's what we all really want to feel. We don't want to feel those like bad negative emotions. We want to let go of those things, right?
Totally.
I love all of that. Okay, so talking about feelings. So you talked a little bit about the guilt and the shame. Is there anything else you felt with regards to your finances, like when you thought about it? Or were you kind of, I know a lot of people in my audience are just like in the avoidance. They're like, I don't even want to deal with it. Was that you at all? Yeah.
Oh yeah. 100%. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't, I mean, my husband would get so mad at me because, so I said, like, I was starting my business, like, starting over, right? Before that, I did do network marketing for like 2 years, right? So we had been like filing kind of like business taxes with that. And he'd get so mad at me because I wouldn't track anything all year. And then he'd be like, I need everything for taxes. And I'd be like, okay, give me 2 weekends. And I'd have to like go through, right? So I just never wanted to deal with it. Never wanted to look at the numbers. And like, I'm not someone that like financial stuff is the most exciting, riveting thing ever. Like my husband will talk about the stock market. And I'm like, oh, so
Good.
like, it's just not something. I was always like in my early 20s. I was like, I just want to like pay someone else to like deal with the things so I don't have to, which of course got me into trouble, but
I think that's so true though, because I think that even people who've been in business for a while will tell me like, well, I have an accountant. So do I need to do something do I need, and I am really, really big on every business owner, right? Unless you're like, if you're making millions and you've got a CFO that literally is on staff that you pay to make these decisions, okay, but you still need to be informed, right? But until that point, like you are the CFO, you're the CEO. And I think we all know like, okay, we are the CEO of our own business. You're also the CFO. You got to be able to put that hat on and make the decisions and be confident in those decisions and understand the numbers and use the actual data to make the decisions in your business on pricing and profit margins and be intentional. Right. And I think that's the one where like, that doesn't sound like fun. That sounds like, just we don't want to do it, right? Like it's easy to shy away from. It's easy to get pulled into all the other things in business that are more fun, right? Like who doesn't love? I love like learning about marketing. I'm like, I'll listen to every marketing podcast available because that's fun.
Exactly.
Right? The finances part just makes you're like, I don't know about this. Is it super fun? So I hear that kind of all of the time from people as well. So you're not the only one. So, okay. So then tell us a little bit, you jumped into the program. What was it like when you first kind of joined? How did you feel kind of starting to navigate through the program?
Yeah. So I would go through the modules basically on my lunch break.
I remember like you posting on Instagram, by the way. I have a specific memory. You tagged me on Instagram and it was you on your lunch break, like watching me like with your notebooks. And I was like, yes, this girl is on it. I love it.
Yes. So, but it was such a shift for me, right? Because like I'd been in all this avoidance, right? And then I started the program and I was just hungry. Yeah. I looked forward to the next lesson. I was like, who am I? Like, what is happening right now? I think at one point, actually, I know exactly what it was. It was after like getting the like manual spreadsheet that like automatically updates your P&L and everything, which is magic, right? I'm pretty sure I went into the Facebook group and I was like, I tagged you and I was like, Jamie is like both a genius and a goddess and I love her forever. Because suddenly like it felt easy. And there was and I felt so empowered because I knew exactly what to do, right? Like I just had to pull the numbers, like get, download the, the account, whatever transactions, plug things in, and then like it told me what to do.
Yep. That's my favorite thing to do with a spreadsheet, because I feel like people who tell me like, oh, I don't like spreadsheets, right? And I don't think that was you. I think you were like, I'm cool with spreadsheets, but I think there are a lot of people that are like, I don't want to deal with a spreadsheet. Like, that sounds complicated. I do all the complicated stuff for you. And then I'm like, put something here and like highlight a couple of places and you can put it in, and then it works. And so that's what I try to do with all of the worksheets that are within the program, is make them things that are just kind of plug and play, that you can put in a few pieces of information. I have a little tutorial that goes with all of them. And then it just does the thing. And you're like, oh, okay, that wasn't as bad as it. I don't need my calculator. Who has a calculator anymore, by the way? I guess we all carry a calculator around, but you don't even need that. You don't need that at all, right? It does it all for you. So that's great. I love that feeling. And I love the quote, like, it felt easy, right? Like that it just felt, and that's what I want people to feel, is that empowerment that you mentioned. And just that it feels easy. It doesn't feel like this weight anymore, right? It doesn't feel like you're biting off this huge chunk. And that's why I really want to make the program super step by step. Like, just do this, then do this, then do this, right? Because I think the world of financial information is like,
yeah. And you're like, but I don't know what the, and I mean, and I think if I remember correctly, like one of your bonuses was like, which business entity should you create, right? So like, that's why, like, that was another one of the reasons about, right? Because I was like, oh, that's the thing I need to figure out.
Yes, absolutely. Knowing like, what business entity, are you the right business entity, right?
Yeah.
I love all of that.
And I do want to add too, right? Like, I really appreciated that while you gave like recommendations, like, hey, if you want software, here's what I use, but that it wasn't something that I had to do, right? Like, I'm still using I don't use QuickBooks or anything. Like, I'm still using the manual tracking because frankly, I don't have a big enough volume in my business to really need to pay for QuickBooks.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like, I appreciated that you had all these tools built in. I didn't have to learn something new. Like, I know how Excel works, and you did all the magic. So like, it was super easy. I still use them, like literally updated them last week. So,
and I think that's really key when it comes to financial information, because I think sometimes where we fall off, right, is like when you try to fit into somebody else's mold. And so that's why with Financial Fitness Formula, I like to give options, because what we need may not be the same thing as what somebody else needs. And the most important thing is that you stick to it. Honestly, like, there are many different things that you could do to implement this process. And I'll give you kind of those options, not in like an overwhelming way, but just in are you more a person that wants to do stuff on an app? Do you want to do stuff on a spreadsheet? Do you like, what is something that you specifically are going to be able to stick with?
Yeah.
Because I think that's where we fall. We're like, oh, somebody told me about this great budgeting app, and we try it and we're like, why is this not working for me? I don't know. And that's because it's not how your brain works, right? It's not how you think about things. It's not something that you will keep up with, even though somebody else will. And so I think that's important to kind of, again, not overwhelm with choices, but have a few different options built in, such that, you can build something that is right for you. And I'm really big on that, because I think a lot of times people pick up a book or they pick up something and they try to do it and they're like, I don't know why this isn't working. And it's because it wasn't a system built for you, right? It wasn't something that was built based on how you process information. Okay, so let's talk about what the biggest change. So we talked about how you felt before. Let's talk about the after, right? Like, how do you feel now with business finances after going through FFF?
Yeah, well, like, my husband last week was like, hey, we need to file taxes. I'm like, everything's done.
Was he like, but
I was like, all the transactions are cataloged and everything. It's all done. And he's like, so, I mean, that was an amazing feeling. And I mean, it's just like, so I just launched a new program, right? So, more income coming in, right? And to be able to like literally sit down and be like, okay, like, I know exactly how much it costs to run my business every month, just, from website and all that stuff, right? So like, and contractors and things people I pay, right? So I'm like, okay, I know exactly how much I need in my accounts to run my business. I know exactly how much I can put towards advertising, how much I can put towards, and like, since I'm still active duty, me paying myself is paying off business debt. My goal is to be completely debt free when I leave the Navy and start working my business full time. So I got my personal debt paid off this year. Oh, hey, thanks, Lori. That's fun.
Celebrate.
Yeah, so I just finished paying off actually all my personal debt. So
That's
next
awesome.
chunk is business debt. But it's like, I'm not afraid of the numbers anymore, and it gives me guidance for, okay, like, if I do want to, well, actually I'm looking at like hiring a coach to look at like webinar stuff, right? Like, I know exactly how much I can invest back into my business as well.
Yay, yes. That is such an important thing to have that already known, because I think sometimes we're just guessing. Sometimes we're like, I don't know, can I afford this? And that was always the question I got when I would go into businesses as their CFO. They'd be like, I want to do XYZ, or I want to get a coach, or I want to do, can I afford it? And I'm like, well, it depends. And so when you create a system, you already know the answer to that, right?
Yeah.
You already know the answer, and when, is this a good decision? Is it not a good decision? You don't have to sit there and hem and haw and think about all the things and try to like dissect it a million ways and overanalyze, right? That's really the goal too, is that clarity. So I love that. I love that. Okay. So resources you found most helpful, and I need you to show the binder you showed me before we jumped on here, because I'm dying about this binder.
Okay. And like, I'm one of those people, like, I need to like print things out and write them down. Like, y'all, I have 2 planners. I have 2 paper planners. I have a weekly/monthly, and I have a daily. So
I probably have 6 planners within like my reach right now.
okay, yeah. So you understand, right? So
Yeah.
this is like my business resources binder. Like, it has like even, my like LLC information printed out, but like literally the first page is my habit tracker for my finances.
Yay! Habit tracker.
More things need to be checked off there, but I'm working on it. It's on the to-do list for this week. But then I actually have I have a section which is literally, it's FFF, financial fitness formula, and it's like stuff that I found helpful that I wanted to be able to refer back to. It's a whole section in here. Yeah.
I love that. So that's also the goal, right? Resources that last, that are going to help you while you're going through it, but they're also things that you will use and be able to refer back to whenever you need them. So that's the great thing about having the lifetime access, is that I'm not going to take away, I'm not going to like shut it down on you and take it all away. If anything, I actually continue to improve it and put out new materials and new resources and all of that kind of stuff. Look, you're not the only one. I can't see who this is, but
yes, right? Like, thank you.
It's an obsessive amount. I have an obsessive amount of planners. Like, it's bad. So I get it. So we make everything printable, so there are resources. That's the great thing. There's video, but then we have a lot of guides and checklists, and not in an overwhelming way, in a step-by-step way, but things that expand on it, where if you want to learn more, we have a whole guide on a lot of these lessons to kind of give you even more kind of clarity around your own specific situation. So I love that you're still using them, and I love that they're just like right there for you. That makes me happy. Okay. So I'm going to give you last chance to say anything else that you want to say, and then I'm going to ask you whether you would recommend FFF. I'm hoping the answer is yes. That'd be like really weird if you're like, nah, it's not a very good program. Y'all should not buy it. Any last thoughts that you have about it, or for people who might be kind of on the fence thinking about it, but they're not sure if this is the right time for them? What would you say?
Man, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if you don't feel like 100% solid in your finances, like, even if you're like, like, I feel okay, like, I jump in, because it's just night and day between like not really being sure, and like, my mom's a banker. Like, I was raised in like the back room of a Bank of America. Like, I'm not kidding. So like, I was always exposed to this stuff, and I think that's honestly where a lot of my weird money mindset came from. But there's a total difference between like being like, I think I kind of got it, to like 100% sure, like, yes, like, I know how to do this. I have money coming in. I know exactly where it's going. And like I said, like, when I started, I actually didn't really have money coming in. I was kind of just, building things up, and I'm super excited to go back through now with my business that's way different in a financial situation than it was at the start, to like dig back in and see the new tools and things like that. So the fact that you can revisit it, I think, is also really crucial. So regardless of where you're at in your business, if you're just starting, if you've been in business for years, I think really anyone that isn't like 100% like, I know everything about finances ever, like, you can probably benefit from this this program.
I love it. I love it. Good. I'm glad that you recommended. So we have some questions, and I do. So I'm now, okay. So first, I'm just going to tell you guys a little bit more about the program. We have the lessons, the modules, and the resources, all of those things. We also have a Facebook group. You don't have to be on Facebook to actually get the value from it. We're going to be putting all of those Facebook Lives also into the course platform, making them all searchable this year. How awesome is that, Ashley? They were not searchable last year. They're going to be searchable. So if you're like, I don't want to sit through all these Q&A lives, I'm going to search for the answer to the question that I have. It's just going to pop up exactly in the video where I talk about it, and go from there. So I'm excited about some of those things, which is going to make it so much easier, I think, for people to get the answers to their questions. I'm going to be doing Q&As twice a week with everybody in the group to answer all the questions. We've got community pods this year, so you should have been a community pod too, Ashley. We'd love to have you. It's going to be, kind of participant-led pods that will help keep people accountable as they go through the course. So we've got some of these fun things that I'm excited to try out. And so I will say, okay, so that for those that are thinking about it, I'll give you the link. It's jamietrull.com/buy. You can go there and check out all the information. Right now, a couple of announcements. We have 6 VIP programs left. That is it. We started with 50. Now there are 6 left. Those are going to be sold out ASAP. Those also come with a QuickBooks Online cleanup. So I'm not going to go into that in a lot of detail, but if you are like, oh, my 2020 books are a mess, and I want to get to that point where Ashley is, where she's like, here's all my stuff. Well, we can take care of 2020 for you. One of our preferred vendors, Cube Pros, is going to literally do that work for you if you get the VIP program. And then you can focus on how to make 2021 better. So it's going to be amazing. And I want to make sure you guys get in on that, because literally there are 6 left. They're going to go. They're going to go, and they're worth a lot. So check that out, jamietrull.com/buy. And then the other thing, so somebody just asked this question. And so I wasn't going to mention this to y'all. I wasn't going to mention it yet, but since I want somebody to tell me who this Facebook user is. If you give StreamYard permission to see your name, then I can see it when I pull you up. But so I added a new bonus. I wasn't going to release it till tomorrow, but you guys who are on this live, I will give it to you. If you go ahead and purchase while you're on the live, then we have a bonus that is all about cash flow. So I'm going to give you my cash flow template, which is my cash flow forecasting template with walkthrough on how to use it and everything. It's one of my most popular templates. People always talk about that one as being the one that really helped them. And I have an improve your cash flow guide. So it's a guide on different ways you can think about improving your cash flow. You're going to get that guide as a bonus as well. So I'm really excited about that. That was kind of a new ad that we put in. We talk a lot about creating your cash plan, your profit plan is what I call it, and how to manage your cash and how to kind of create a plan that works for you, where you can kind of allocate that profit to the things that are really going to help you. Like Ashley says, she knows, okay, here's how much I have to invest in my business. Yeah.
That's the magic spreadsheet. Like the profit plan is like, this is amazing.
It just does it all. And you're like, oh, okay, here's how much I can pay myself. Here's how much. And you just have a plan, right? That's the profit plan. So I really want you to jump in on that, but that is going to be a bonus that's coming out. So I'll just release it today, y'all. If you buy it today, you get the bonus today too. And I'm going to look and see. Let me know if any of you guys have questions. Okay. So ask me any questions that you have about it. We're going to do another live tomorrow with one other member of FFF from last year. So that's going to be exciting. So I want you here for that. That's at my normal 10 a.m. time slot. But we close on Thursday, you guys. Thursday is it? And we're closing for a while. We haven't opened in a year. This is the first time this program has been open in a year. So we don't know when we're going to be opening again, but it won't be anytime soon, because I do walk through, we drip the course content out week to week. So you're not getting the whole course at once, because that would be really whoa, a lot. So we drip it out week to week, and we're there with you in the Facebook group, and we're there answering questions. I'm there helping you guys out. So if you have questions, let me know. Yes, I agree, Lori. Hang on, I'll put your comment over here. Yes, the searchable feature, we're pretty excited about that, because I think that will help just being able to easily find answers to your questions. And regardless of what type of business you are, we have a lot of businesses. We have businesses that are newer, like Ashley. We have businesses that have been around for a while and are like, I just need to get more strategic. I need to have a plan. I need to really dial in my profit margins. I need to understand this stuff. And let's see. So I'm going to talk to this Michelle. So Michelle says, I don't understand anything about finances. I've tried classes before, but really afraid I will take this class and still be. So I walk through it with you. So here's the thing. If you are feeling, I'm going to answer every single dang question. I don't care if I never sleep. Hopefully that's not the case. But my goal is literally in the Q&As to answer all of these questions. So if you're getting stuck anywhere, I think sometimes when we take programs and we get stuck, it's because we don't have the level of support that's really needed. And so that's something I think with finances, especially, that is necessary. It's also why I really like the idea of the community pods we're doing now, because you can find a community pod that's similar businesses to yours and talk about these things and actually, number one, build friendships, which is amazing, but also really work through that together too. So I'm going to be there. You can get in a community pod. Like, we're going to have actual support to help you through this process. And so I feel like you're going to feel different at the end of this. I really that's my goal for everybody. You put in the work. If you get in there and you do the modules and you action it, which I've told people, I would put maybe about 3 hours a week. Would you say that's probably relatively from a time frame perspective, if that
max? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
it's not. It's not like a whole day or anything. You're not, it's so what I say is about 3 hours a week and you will be golden. 3 hours a week will give you time to go through the modules, to go through the PDFs and checklists, to action all the action items, right? That's all. So that can be like a half an hour a day ish, right? That's not that much time.
Lunch break.
To be able to make a big difference in your finances. Yes.
And Jamie, can I just comment on that too?
Yeah,
right?
Please do.
Being free of that fear is so amazing. It is a weight being lifted off your chest, right? I had that fear too. And I was really afraid, my business is my get out of the Navy and support my family plan, right? So I was really afraid that if I didn't figure this out, that I would cause financial ruin for my family, right? That's a big, heavy weight to be holding on to.
Yeah.
And to be free of that is just such a wonderful, amazing feeling. So I
love that so much. I love it. And that's the thing, right? Is that I think the fear, you hit on it, right? And I get it. I absolutely, we're in a place where, a lot of people are still struggling from COVID. And so I sell from a place of integrity. So I'm not go mortgage your house and buy my program. That's not what I want people to do. But I do know that people that are in a place where financially they can't afford it. They've got the money, they can do it. They're just I don't know if this is going to be worth it. If you put the work in, right? If you put the work in, you're going to get a return that's greater than what you put into this. You just will. You just will. And like I said, I'm there with you the whole way. So if you're getting stuck anywhere, I can help you along to make sure that you are getting that return on your investment. And I do think that sometimes we come from that place, but think about what if it's kind of what if it doesn't work out, when we sit in that place of what if it doesn't work out, but what if it does though? What if it makes all the difference, right? Right? You kind of have to weigh the pluses and minuses of what if it doesn't work out. Well, firstly, I have a 14-day money back guarantee, by the way, as well. So if you get into it, right? If you get into it, it starts when the program drops. So the first module will drop next Monday, 14 days from next Monday, which means you get to actually see the first 3 modules before. If you're this is not going to work for me, you can get your money back. If you just show me hey, I put some effort and it's not going to work for me, or this isn't right for me, you get your money back. So so if you're coming from that place of fear, then maybe taking it up and saying, okay, well, I'll do this. And I will feel better knowing there is a path to getting my money back if I needed to. You're not going to need it, but, but I have it there just in case, just to make you guys feel better about it. Let's see. So somebody asked, I can't see your question, or I can't see your face, but do you address or have tips about the lack of predictability in forecasting with COVID? My cash flow forecast usually has an element of historical sales. I try to get operational costs below it, but with COVID, it is up and down. It is up and down. And so I think that within the profit plan, we come up with ways for sort of, looking at saving for when you have good months. How do we use that to then kind of put money aside for those bad months? So we can't necessarily predict, right? We can't necessarily predict, but what we can do is prepare. So that is where we do our best to predict. But even in the absence, knowing how much can you really predict COVID? The key though is to prepare for what's next, right? The key though is to have a process that works for you, where you're continually having part of your money set aside to prepare. And so that's what we walk you through when you get to kind of the end, when you do your profit plan. That's what you'll have, is kind of that preparation for whatever is to come. Because I think we all know, right? Like COVID, holy cow, it just kind of came out of nowhere. And I think we all learned a lot of lessons. We're still learning a lot of lessons, but really a key among them is we got to be better prepared for anything at this point, right? We don't want to be where it's great if you can get government funding. We don't want to have to rely on that in order to keep going. And so the better prepared we can be for anything, the better off that we're going to be. Okay, guys, well, I am going to let Ashley go because she has given us so much of her time. I'm so glad to have you here. I'm going to literally chop up and put, you gave me so many good quotes. So definitely take a look, jamietrull.com/buy if you want to take a look at the program. Oh, let's see. I've already gotten, let's see. So Dana joined us. That's awesome. So yeah, take a look at all the information. And I really want to make sure that you guys get your questions answered. So also email us at support@balancedcfo.com if you have questions about the program. Remember, we close in 2 days, Thursday. Close on Thursday. And then can't get in. So jump in if you're interested. Okay, Ashley, we will see you next time. And bye, everybody.
Bye.
Have a great, what day is it? Tuesday? It's usually
Tuesday.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.